Hello everyone, in this video here I'll be doing a demonstration on how to bleed the coolant system on your BMW E39. Now this particular model I have here is a 97540. Now this may also apply to other models as well. I'm not sure exactly about the inline 6 version, but any other BMW models that include the V8, particularly towards the M62, the 4.4 liter. So this would also be included in the 740 and the 840 as well. So basically the reason here I'm bleeding the coolant system is that I've already replaced the valley pan itself. I had to drain the coolant in the vehicle, and now I'm just ready to check everything out and make sure all the air is out of the coolant system. Now basically what I start by doing here is before you start up your vehicle, you want to make sure it does have coolant in it. So what I've done here is I went to BMW, I purchased their specific coolant for the vehicle. Now it is blue in color for this particular model here. And it was a concentrated version, so I had to do a 50-50 equal mix with water and the coolant and put it in the tank here. Now as for the water, I purchased distilled water for this. You can go ahead and use regular tap water. Normally I wouldn't recommend that though, because there is some additives which can cause the system to plug up, and it does tend to have a buildup inside the inside your cooling system, and it could cause problems down the road. Distilled water doesn't have any additives in it, so you don't have to usually worry about that. So basically what I've done is I've added the coolant to the vehicle already, and what you usually want to do is go around is just squeeze the coolant line, such as this one up top here. Now what happens here, this does push the air out of the system, and if you can reach down to the bottom one as well. It's a little hard to see here, but there is one located right down the bottom there. You want to go ahead and also squeeze that one too. It helps to push the air out of the system, and even the ones over by the water valves there that go to the rear coolant manifold at the back, you can also squeeze those hoses, and it just helps the air out of the system. Next, what we want to start by doing is removing the bleed screw on the system. Now the bleed screw is located right here. I won't be doing this in this video here because I've heard stories of people actually breaking these off, and I don't want to run into that hazard here. Now the bleed screw does go right directly to the coolant tank itself, so what I'll do in this application here, I'll just leave the you can either leave the lid on loosely so the air is able to pass through, or you can just leave it off, what I'm going to do. Now you don't normally have to worry about the fluid splashing out of here. So once you start your vehicle up here, basically what we want to do, in order to open the heater valves up so the coolant does run fully through the system and you don't have any risk of any air pockets, what you want to do is turn on your heater controls. Now you want to have them both max on both sides. If you do have dual climate control, and I have the fan on about halfway. Now this ensures the heater valves are fully opened, and they will stay open. Next, what we want to do is start your vehicle up, and now it is running at a higher idle because it's cold right now, so you got to wait till it does warm up. And what you want to do is watch the temperature gauge until it comes up halfway. Once the temperature gauge does start coming up, the thermostat will open up eventually, and this will run the coolant fully through the system then, so it is fully free flowing. When the vehicle is cold, what happens is the thermostat does close up until the engine is warmed up, until the coolant does reach a certain temperature, then it does expand and will be okay. Now in order to ensure all the air is bled out of the system, it does make it a lot easier doing this, is you want to park the car on a bit of an incline, so the highest point of the car tends to be the front of the car. Basically how this works, the coolant system is it'll let the air escape through the highest point of the cooling system. So in this case what it would be is the expansion tank. Now in order to properly check the coolant level, you have to do this when the engine is cold and the coolant is cold as well. What happens if you do check it when it is warm or hot, or while it's running, this is a pressurized system, so there is pressure which will come out of the system, and the flotation inside the tank here, which does give you the proper reading with a little level indicator that goes even with the top of the threads here, it will actually stick up quite a ways. So that's why you want to do it when the vehicle is cold and not running. Now as I mentioned before, the little flotation device inside there, the little ball on top, should be even with the threads where the cap does screw on. Now I would show you this, but except my engine is currently warm right now, so I will wait for it to cool down. Okay, now you see I turned the car off. I had the car running for about 20 minutes. Now I have put the cap back on here. I just wanted to see if it would build up pressure, just to ensure there wasn't any leaks after I've replaced the gaskets and piping and anything like that in the car. Just want to make sure once it does build up pressure, that just tells me that there's no leaks in the system, there's nowhere the pressure is leaking out. Now with the car, just to mention earlier, I had the car running for about 20 minutes with the cap off. I kept coming back all the time, every about 5-10 minutes, just making sure that that it wasn't going down on coolant. When it did go down on coolant, I would add accordingly to it. And after that, I still left the heat on full. Now I have turned the car off here just to let it cool down. And basically what this does, once I cool it down, I'll just let the coolant contract again to see if there's any airlocks and see if the coolant does go down any in the vehicle itself, just to ensure it's not low on coolant. What I'll do again, basically doing the exact same procedure over again, I will start the car back up, do this a second time, ensure that the coolant doesn't go down again, run it with the rad cap off with the heater on full, and just make sure that everything is topped up and there is no air in the system. Now, as you can feel previously, now these lines will be warm to a touch, but you can feel they're nice and soft, and you can feel there is coolant inside them, as opposed to before when you can feel the air pockets inside. Now once you've done this a couple times, now if you are having a little trouble the second time around, you still notice there is air in the system, you can go back a third time just to make sure. Now thank you for watching my tutorial video. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to post them below. Also, please subscribe to my channel for further tutorial videos, as well as rate this video. And if I didn't mention earlier, I'm also using a new camera, so let me know what your new thoughts are on the new video camera I have for my channel. Thank you.